Welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor and I'm your host, and I am not God, obviously. I am not an expert and I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. Can we talk about guilt? Let's talk about guilt. People love to talk about guilt when we're talking about religion, so let's talk about it. Guilt is so interesting because, like most things, it serves a purpose. It has a place, but it's been weaponized, and now it's confusing and complex. Guilt is a feeling that can be a really helpful indicator that we've done something wrong, that doesn't align with our values, that doesn't align with human decency, right? However, the way that I was taught about guilt and then experienced guilt was, rather than being a helpful indicator light of, ooh, maybe let's change something, fix something, redo something, repair something, it became an indicator light for, you're a terrible person and you have no worth and God hates you. That's what the indicator light became. And that's not helpful. That's not helpful or true. So I'd like to give guilt a rebrand, because it's not that we should never feel guilt. One of the ways that I overcorrected, there's many ways, but one of the ways I overcorrected is I became completely immune to guilt. And so when I left religion, I was like, yeah, guilt, that's just a weapon of destruction and I will not partake in it. And I really became like immune to guilt. Like I would never feel bad for anything ever. And luckily I didn't like go on a rampage or something. I was pretty just standard living normal life. But I really resisted feeling guilt. And if ever I did feel guilty, I would just like numb it so quickly, because in my world, guilt meant I was worthless. And that's not a good feeling. And so I'd like to rebrand guilt to be a helpful indicator light of, when you feel guilty about something, just check in. Just check in. It's a little help. It's like a low tire pressure light of, hey, maybe you need air. Maybe you need to repair. Maybe you need to change your choices, make a shift, pivot and repair. That's all guilt is an indicator light. But because it's been misused and mistaught, a lot of us are very triggered by it. And it can also serve another purpose of, like, sometimes it's an indicator light of nothing. Sometimes an indicator light of habitual anxiety and shame and insecurity. Sometimes that's what it's an indicator of. And so it's just a really interesting thing. It's a complex, interesting thing. But I do think that it can serve a purpose, and I like to explore it when it pops up. The places that it's frustrating for me when it pops up, I'll give an example this week. Let's just really expose myself. I've been really tired, close to burnout. I'm going on vacation this week. It's going to be great. But do you ever just get like kind of giggly and inappropriate, or is that just me? That happened to me this week at work. I said the phrase raw dog like 2 times in a professional meeting this week, unironically. Like I used it in a sentence, like, if we're going to raw dog this, like, what in the world? And that's like not shocking for my personality, but like I usually filter myself in professional settings because I really enjoy my job and I'd like to keep it. And so I behave differently, at least I try to, in professional settings. And then in another meeting, I got like really giggly. Like I couldn't stop laughing. And afterwards, I went to the bathroom after that meeting and I felt guilty. I was like, what did you just do? And that was a good indicator light. I went to the person that I felt like I had been rude to by laughing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that was bad behavior. And she was like, I didn't think anything of it. But I was like, well, I don't like to behave that way. And that was not great. So my bad. And I'm very sorry. But that guilt that I felt in the bathroom after that meeting, I think was a helpful indicator light of like, hey, you don't like to show up that way. You don't like to behave that way. That could have been offensive to someone. That could have been rude and unprofessional. So let's go repair what you just did, right? Helpful guilt indicator. Another place that pops up that's not helpful is like, oh, food guilt. Man, it's gotten better since like diet culture has been shamed. But back in the day, if you didn't have to live through the internet in like 2000 something, when people would act like they killed a village when they ate a pancake with syrup because they were eating sugar and carbs, like the way people talk about like, oh, I feel so guilty. I have to go run 10 miles because I ate. Okay. That's a bad form of guilt. Mom guilt. Mom guilt is an interesting one because sometimes it can be helpful and sometimes it's just your brain being a jerk to you because moms have to suffer. That's all that is. So don't lean too hard into that one as an indicator light. And then the other one that's been really fun that I've been learning the last year and a half is a crossover for me, but it's like grief guilt and mom guilt often come together to make me feel terrible about things. So guilt and grief is a really big one that I don't think is a helpful indicator light. So in my experience, most mom guilt, most food and body guilt, and most grief guilt is an error code. It's a false positive. But in other places, guilt can actually be a helpful indicator of, hey, I'm out of alignment. Hey, I'm not showing up how I want. Hey, something needs repair and a pivot. And that's how I feel about guilt. But I think we should rebrand it. And I don't really have like the answer because I never have the answer. Why are you guys listening to this podcast? I don't know anything. But I don't really know, like, yeah, sometimes guilt is good and sometimes guilt is bad. But what I do know is that guilt was weaponized against us to make us feel worthless. And also what I know, and this was the whole point of this episode, and I'm glad that I remembered it right now before we wrap up. Even when guilt is valid, even when you are being redirected or sent to repair something, even when you did do something wrong and you're feeling justified guilt for it, it actually doesn't affect your worth. The indicator light is never, hey, you're a worthless piece of crap. The indicator light is, oh, we need to pivot and repair. Those are two very different things. So when you feel that guilt bubble up, navigate it from a place of, oh, this isn't about my worth. This is just me. I made a bad choice. I did the wrong thing. I said raw dog in a meeting. Okay? Rebranding guilt here on the Get Ready with God pod. Love you so much. Bye.